represented by a falcon on top of the White House. And this is his name, Neb-Ram, one who masters the energy of light. So when Neb is before, it means master. When Neb's after, it's like all, but in this case, he is all light. Now they try to tell you that Imhotep is the first person that mastered stone. Imhotep is in the 3rd dynasty. No, Imhotep belongs to a clan of spiritual architects, engineers, and learned the skill. This was done before, this White House was done before Kemet was united, Upper and Lower Kemet. So that means it came from Kosh, ancient Kosh. So you're going to hear me mention Kosh quite a few times. Kosh is what they, present-day Sudan, and the Kushites. It's actually the Koshites, but people call it Kush because of European just retranslation of our stuff. But when you read the glyphs, it's K-A-S-H, Kosh. So Koshites. So the Kushites are the authors of this technology and information that was passed down to ancient Kemet, then brought into Sumer, and then brought into Asia. The stone pink granite, so it has crystal in it, which can be programmed and charged. So even the material is as important as what's there. So, you know, watch this. So pink granite. So I'm going to see. During the old period, you see it's not freestanding. The leg has a brace to it. It's attached to the wall. Maybe you will see freestanding with the first statue. So I need you to know that. So that's why you just can't, oh, I'm taking over the throne. You know, like, you know, European, you just kill the next king and you the king. No, no, the king is the high priest. You had to go through a system. He's the high priest, okay? And so they put the high priest's head and kept the lion's body. So what it's saying is that I'm powerful like a lion, king of the domain, but I got the intelligence of the high priest. So that's Haru M. Aketi, not Sphinx. So every time you hear somebody say Sphinx, you're correct. That's a mythological creature that will kill you. It has wings if you don't know it's real. It has nothing to do with Africa or Kemet. No Sphinx. Haru M. Aketi, Haru of the rising and setting sun, from protection from sunrise to sunset. So Penma was the name in ancient Kosh. And you can still look that up, Penma. It says Lower Egypt up here, and it says Upper Egypt down here. That should be turned around. Not flow up north. It flows down from up south. The only way water runs up if you got a pump. No giant pump was found. There's 3 main contributors of the Hapi River, and this was called the Nile was called the Hapi River. Hapi Ethiopia. 3 main contributors. We have the White Nile. Ain't no Greeks. Ain't nobody speaking Arabic. So I'm showing you how deep, there's layers of information of how deep the indoctrination is. And you're not going to just get this in a book. I'm just trying to show you this. Layers of We've created a map where we got all the correct names. You can buy the name. And we got the proper spatial perspective. We got all the Kemetic names in it. Is it in the fetus position? You can see it over here. They put some rocks around it, and the person's in the fetus position. And then they'll put like his favorite bowl, his favorite cup. You know, some of his, he might even have a talisman or something that he wore during his lifetime. They would put his objects that he had, that he loved while he was alive, and they would bury it with him so it'd be with him in the afterlife. So before they sahooed you, because I know y'all heard the word mummy, I'm gonna be messing your head up today. Ain't no word, mummy comes from mumia, which is a black sap, glue. in Arabic. Wasn't no Arabic during this time. And we didn't use no black sap glue, okay? So when you wrap the body up, that was called a sahu. That's preparing the body for eternity. Here, you're returning the body back to the womb, nature, from which you came. We're stardust. The planet is part of that stardust. And you're returning back to Earth. So they would put you in a fetus position just like you would be in birth, going back to the womb to go into the next life. So now you're being birthed into the next life. So I'm trying to give you symptomatically the philosophy of why they did that. Why they put you in a fetus position? Okay. This is a really good picture of why this is called the Happy Valley. Because the desert is to the east and to the west. Whereas green is where the Nile used to overflow. And that became fertile, one of the most fertile places on the planet. So fertile you can spit seeds out there and next week plants will be growing up. Okay? Really fertile. And so that was able to feed more when the water's 100 feet high. You can't even imagine it. When the Nile overflowed, brother, it was serious. You had to transport your whole house and move. Now, here's where Sebek, the crocodile, you're going to see this lady comes in. The crocodile lays eggs, but he's amphibious. He lays eggs like a bird, but he's amphibious. He's in the mammal family. Well, at least the reptile family. Okay. And if his eggs hatch in the water, their babies will drown. So he has to find fertile ground to bury his eggs, so when they hatch, they're cool. It's just like little turtles. Turtles, they hatch, and then they go back to the water. But it's the same thing with the crocodile. And you know, the crocodile has been around since the age of the dinosaurs. Crocodiles are still around with us. So they're what I call survivors. They're survivors, okay? So the crocodile is an ancient creature that's still here today. Some of the crocodiles back then were much bigger than today. But this is a predecessor of that. So the crocodile will show them how far to go up. You know, if the crocodile buries his eggs over here, you better have your house behind that, or you're gonna be underwater one day. Okay, because when the Nile overflows, it's not like you got a whole dam. And then in 1960, the Russians built the high dam that they have today, and that provides most of the electricity for Egypt today. And now Sudan has built a dam for electricity and stuff like that. So when they built the dam, it created the largest man-made lake in the world, Lake Nasser. So what they did, that used to be Nubian territory, ancient Kosh. All those artifacts got buried underwater because they knew that was black folks. We can't claim that. But except for Apple Symbol, they were pimping that so hard. They were making like $1 million a day. So we got to save this one. So all of UNESCO came together and they removed Apple Symbol to a higher ground above to the mountain so that they could still pimp it. But they knew, and Apple Symbol was architecturally designed so well that twice a year the sun comes through, like you had your equinox, comes through the 3 pillars and hits the Holy of Holies with the 4 statues. Now you gotta have, not only are you an archaeologist, anthropologist, engineer, you got to know astronomy. Not just astrology. Astrology is how the heavenly bodies affect human beings. You got to know astronomy. You got to know the orbits of planets, the orbits of the sun in relationship to the earth and other planets. So we already had that skill. That was built on the 3rd Golden Age. Okay, we already had that skill. When UNESCO and the United States put the most money in, over 28 countries were involved in moving this. Mack trucks, bulldozers, cranes. When they finished, they couldn't duplicate what the ancients did. Now, on that same day, the sun comes through, hits one statue on the kneecap, hits another one on the toe, and misses the last 2. And because it missed one, they said, oh, that's the nature of darkness. So they just made up a new story to go and get their blunder. All this house used to be filled with stuff they stole from the Sahel, like jewelry, Sa. You know, we didn't have jewelry in ancient Kemet. We had Sa, S-A-A. Sa means spiritual protection. So your crystal energy, emblems. This is onyx and obsidian. You know, everything had to have something that was helping your vibration. So you see the Sahel of Tutankhamun, all those semi-precious stones, which you're going to see some inside of here, all had spiritual meaning. We'll talk about. But all of this is on loan to some other museum. Come. Yeah. Okay. Trafficking. This is artwork before Kemet. This is ancient Nubia or ancient Kosh. Oh, let me tell you, when they use the word Nubia, that's a modern technology. Nobody in ancient times called themselves Nubians. That's a modern word. That's like you being called a Negro. Nobody in ancient times, when I'm talking about those are Negroes. Okay, all right? So, this is art. They believe that this was artwork from the early civilizations before Kemet. But now we're finding out this is not artwork. This was writing. They're actually saying stuff. This is a story. So it's not just picture work. These are picture glyphs, like the Medu-Neter. So we have to go back and redo everything that we thought we knew. Now that we know how to read, we go back and we see messages. I know this is one village talking about they're going fishing. And then you can see the ostrich and all. Those are words and stuff like that. So these are sounds and words. So this is actually not just artwork now. These designs and stuff like that is actually ancient writing. It's precursing the beginning of Medu-Neter. It's a quarter of an inch all the way around, inside out. So now let me say this here. Even with a laser doesn't go around the corner. So that means they can't do this today. And this is, right, that's what they'll say. But this was done during the first golden age. We're talking about first dynasty, second dynasty, 4000 BCE. Okay. I'm going to tell you how, but I can't do it because we just started. I'm going to give my stuff away at the beginning. Okay, this is a house of light. We call it Per Ankh. So it's a Per Ankh, master of the afterlife. So you can see the road or something. Now that stone there is alabaster. Alabaster is a soft stone, like around a 4-point hard. You can actually almost dent it with your fingernails. Okay? It's a softer stone. But you see how decorative and pretty it is? But guess what? When you put light to it, look over there. So they would make lamps and different things like that with the alabaster stone. Alabaster stone. They did it the hardest stone known to man. And gray whack is like a 7.0 hard. It's like crystal. So they made pottery, bowls, and everything. Look at the design. So I'm just trying to show you, they really showing up their skills. But now let me explain. Some people think that some of this was all done at the same time. Some of these were heirlooms that was handed down. It would be like today, watch this. If somebody came in my house and they saw the carvings I got, it's going back, the carvings I got in my house could be 200-300 years old. I got some Benin stuff that's going back to the 1600s, right? So let's say there was a fire, my house collapsing, and then 200 years from now, somebody dug it out and found these artifacts. They would go, oh man, in 2022, this is what they was doing. No, these are heirlooms from way. So that's what happened in ancient Kemet. Sometimes, like in Saqqara, inside of Nefertiti, step pyramid, he took heirlooms or bowls and stuff from pre-dynastic time and was saving because people were robbing graves. So he wanted to keep this and put it in his tomb. So now we find this tomb and we think that was done during his era. No, it was already ancient. So y'all see, I'm trying to symptomatically show you how things, so the ones who are not thinking logically. They just robbed his brother's grave, disassembled it, and brought it here to the museum. So I'm just giving the brother some respect, and we'll go in just to view and to look. They just disassembled this tool and then put it back together in here. This is called a spirit door, because they believe that wall is not stopping the spirit from coming. It's stopping the human body. So they call it the false door. Like that's not a false door. It's a spirit door. It's doing exactly what it was supposed to do. Okay. Here again, the writing on this side is written from left to right. The writing on this side is written from right to left. And everything is going down. He's giving you all his titles. This guy was a prince. That means he's the son of the king. In fact, he's a hereditary prince, meaning he's next in line. Okay, he might have some other brothers and sisters, okay? And he's telling you his titles. And so here he is down here. You can see he has little twisted hair locks. That's not a wig. They try to tell you it's a wig. No, he got his hair twisted. Probably just got it done before they carved this. Okay? And here he is over here at a later part of his life with longer locks. So you can see this progression as a younger brother and then as an older brother, okay? And he's telling you all the titles